Okay, just before we move further, I'd just like to update you on some of the previous discussion we had in Kampala. For those of you who was in Kampala there was during the discussion was managed by IFOC, just to get the community to provide more feedback. And after the Kampala meeting, the board continued to engage with various members and community. And after the consultation, which was a board consultation, the board formed what you call a reform committee, because in the discussion, the recommendation was that there was sort of area which the company after 15 years we have to look into to make sure that we are carrying all along. And the reform committee actually it's composed of past CEOs. We have Adiel and Alan. Past chair, Viv, who is a member of CE. GC member, Dr. Alun, any member represented by Paul Wilson, actually the CEO of AFRINIC, and we have one board appointee, Professor Habib. The committee actually is working on addressing various issues and challenges AFRINIC is facing, and there is submitted to the board for consideration. One of the key achievements this year, as I said during my opening speech, that we have now a new CEO, Mr. Eddie, who joined us. I think today is your 4 months and 2 days, right?
No, okay, 1 month.
1 month and 2 days, yeah. And and as we communicate the process was communicated was transparent and open. On this note, I will leave the floor to the CEO if he has further things to say. Thank you. You have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to appreciate the community at large, because in this meeting we got time to interact, to have discussions, whether formally or informally, and I am overwhelmed by the expression of support that I get from multiple people, and the desire to make things move. And I can only commit that I'll do all that I can and all that it takes to make things move as fast as we need, move as fast as is required by the current situation we are in, and do it so with the maximum inclusion as possible, because this community is ours and it's for all of us, and it needs to address the desires and the needs of the entire community. So we'll be listening to you, we'll be working with you. We expect your support and we expect your feedback when you see things going in the direction that is important or interesting for the community and for AFRINIC and Africa. Please voice it up. We'll be listening at least and make sure that we achieve our targets and our goals. We have started with this, maybe I can go on the strategic plan. Okay.
If you have anything operational, we can talk about it, and then we'll go to the agenda.
Okay, fine. Well, operationally, the activity that you're already doing, of course, we'll discuss some of them on the next points, and it's an interesting challenge, but I think I'm up for the challenge. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. I've shared the draft agenda the board would like to discuss, and then I will open the floor for further comments, question, or suggestion. In the draft agenda, the first item is AFRINIC strategic plan, and I will give the floor to the CEO to lead us in this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. For the strategic plan, we had a session on Wednesday where we discussed, Patrice gave you a feedback on what is the assessment that we have on what has happened from 2016 to 2020, but again, it was from 2015 to 2019 because we've not yet started 2020. And starting from now, we've embarked on this journey to build our strategic plan 2021 to 2025. As I said, this is an inclusive process where we'll have to have your feedback and we'll put in different activities. Some of the activities that were not achieved in the previous periods, we'll maybe adjust them and put them again in the new one. And yeah, so I think we had a session about this. I don't want to spend too much time about that. And let's see if you have additional questions than those that were raised on Wednesday.
Thank you, CEO. The second item is election guideline. I will give the floor to Sean to lead us into this discussion. Thank you, Sean. The floor.
Thank you very much, Chair. Hello, everyone, once again. So we published the call for comments on the election guideline, and the call will close by 13th of this month. We are actually using the opportunity to also ask the community to please review those changes and then try to provide your comments before the 13th. We understand that this particular guideline is very important, and we would like you to provide feedback for us. The URL to comment to the particular page would be displayed on the screen if possible. Otherwise, please check your mail for the particular announcement, and I'm sure a reminder would also be sent to that effect. Just to mention two things. There are many changes, there are a couple of changes in the guideline, but I'll just mention perhaps two of them. One of them is in terms of the candidates. So we've reviewed it to require NEMCOM to provide at least 10 candidates for the seat. This perhaps will encourage having to get, to avoid the situation where we have just one candidate for position. We've also reviewed it to address the issue of abstention so that those that want to abstain can do so, and then it is tallied for both the e-voting and the paper ballot. These are some of the corrective measures that we try to put in based on the experiences that we had from the last election. A couple of other changes, but for the sake of time, I will not to go through them. But I encourage you to go online, give us your comments. These are proposed changes. Tell us if you like them, tell us if you don't like them, so that we can put all this into consideration when we finalize the guideline. Thank you. Over to you, Chair.
Thank you, Sean. The fourth item is External Auditor for the financial year. Oh, sorry. Okay. The third one is filling of casual vacancy for an Africa seat. I will give the floor to SM.
Thank you. There's currently a vacancy on the board seat for Eastern Africa. It's been 6. It's been vacant since I think 1 month. The board intends to send out what we call an expression of interest. This is what we did last time to fill the seats, and the board will take a decision to fill the seats. So it should be maybe next week that you'll see it on the mailing list. We encourage you to apply for this question. Thank you.
Thank you, SM. Just to add on what SM, the Vice Chair, just said, on the filling of casual vacancy, the board discussed and the board decided to fill that seat. Okay. The fourth item is the External Auditor for financial year 2019. I will give the floor to the Chair of Audit Score, Dr. Adewale, to brief us on this item. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everyone. As we are all aware that the approved auditor for AFRINIC,
resigned sometimes in October. The board used the provision in the bylaw 15.35 and has decided to call for to put an RFP. So the board has identified another auditor. The auditor is currently going through their normal processes, and we expect them to give us a response maximum in another 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wali. On item 5, the update on IP investigation, I will give the floor to the CEO to lead us on the item. Thank you. CEO, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. As you're aware, we have a situation that we're handling on manipulation of the database, which is causing a harm, not only harm to the members, but also harm to the institution itself. We have started the process, an investigation process with an external partner. It's AFRINIC that came to provide this support. And as it is, the investigation is still ongoing. One of the staff that is involved in this has been suspended, and as the normal procedure is going, there is a possibility that due to how things are, there's a possibility that we escalate that to different other organization in Mauritius, to follow the legal process. We'll keep you informed as things evolve, but as it is now, we're still concluding with the investigation and the internal investigation, I'd say, and also we'll keep you. Chair mentioned one time in November, he mentioned that the feedback for that the investigation is supposed to conclude by the end of the year, and I think we preliminary investigation, all the necessary actions that requires to address the situation. Thank you.
Thank you, CEO. Now I will open the floor. Thank you. The floor is open. Question, comment, suggestion, the floor is open now. It seems like no one wants to be the first. Maybe,
We'll take 3 questions and then they will answer. So I need 2 more people. The last person to cue in the mic. Not the final, but the last in this first. Okay, awesome.
Okay, Karim, Abdul Karim, please proceed.
Thank you very much. I want to ask, my name is Abdul Karim, first of all. I will have 2 questions. The first question is on the issue of the external auditor, because I could recollect that in Uganda, the issue of the external auditor came up, and PwC was approved to be to be the external auditor for I think 2 years or 3 years, something like that. And I saw the email that says PwC offered not to, not to take up the offer. But I want you to provide more details. Why did PwC decided to opt out? And does it have anything to do with the current investigation that is happening? Or was it before the current investigation? Can you share more light onto why PwC? And also, can we know who is the current auditor, external auditor, and how you arrived at picking the current external auditor? And the second question I want to ask has to do with the ongoing investigation. I actually think we've read a lot of things in the media, and everybody has an opinion about what they think is happening. Well, I think the board is supposed to at least tell us. I understand that an investigation is going on, and you wouldn't want to jeopardize those investigations or the investigation that is going on. But I think in order for the news is there in the media, and I think you need to come out categorically to say something more than just saying investigation is going on, and at the end of the investigation, we're going to let you know. Assuming nothing is there in the media, then we could say, yes, we could keep it under the wrap, but it's there. Everybody has read it, and we've all probably have an opinion on what is happening. Thank you so much.
Second question.
Well, good morning, everybody. So from Burundi, first of all, before asking the question, I would like to say how I was really impressed then by this fellowship from Monday up to right now. So that it has been very informative. I have learned a lot. I've met different people from different countries of Africa, and I found that it was very nice. So my question is all about the third part, which is all about the vacancy for Eastern Africa. Well, can you please precise, countries which are eligible in this vacancy for Eastern Africa, and the criteria as well? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Actually, I want to express my appreciation for this engagement. I think it's in the right spirit. It's always good to, engage with community so that you can improve the cooperation that we're all looking for. On the other hand, I just want to comment that this is not an AGMM, so people should be circumspect and see it as just information exchange as opposed to I want this, I want that, I want that. It's not like that. Okay. My question is related to number 5, update on IP investigation and some of the things in the media, and I'll explain what it is. One of the articles I read said that, in quotes, some things before, but explicitly deleted, and it says, and that the evidence was not clear or persuasive enough to justify opening an investigation. And this is being alleged to have been said by the CEO. So of interest, one would like to know if the CEO informed the board about this inquiry and when the board became aware, resulting in its own investigative process. Thank you very much. Is the CEO at the time?
Thank you for the 3 questions. The question regarding the external auditor, I will give back the floor to the chair of Auditco, Dr. Adewale.
Thank you, Chair. The appointment that happened in Kampala was for PwC to audit AFRINIC for 2019. PwC eventually decided to resign this appointment, and the only thing in the letter that they wrote was they considered some risk. They had some risk assessments. They did not state anything whether it had to do with the current investigation or not, and we are not going to speculate that it has anything to do with the investigation or not. So, the current or the process that is ongoing now, and RFE was sent out immediately after the PwC resigned, and we got some bids from other audit companies. Now, one has been chosen, they have not accepted. So I don't think it is very appropriate to start to give names because they've not accepted. If they've accepted, yes, we can begin to talk about them, but they've not accepted. So I think we leave it at that for now. Thank you.
Okay. As Abdul Karim pointed out that we appointed a PwC, sorry, we appointed an auditor in Kampala, and now the board has decided to fill the casual vacancy. I think I will give the floor to the AFRINIC legal advisor, just to clarify to the audience the motivation behind or the legal ground behind the board used to appoint, to start a process of appointing a new auditor to fill the casual vacancy. Ashok, thank you.
No, I get a bad feeling that the community is behind me, but my position forces me to have this situation. So I'm more comfortable talking to you, ladies and gentlemen, this way. Now, the process of appointing an auditor generally is one which is done at the annual general members meeting. Those who were present in Kampala would recall that we had appointed, in fact, PwC to do that job because they were the standing auditors, and being satisfied with them, we thought to prolong their contract with us. Now, whilst, if I'm not mistaken, during the period where there was to be, the letter of engagement with them was to be signed, before that was signed, they notified to the company that they were not, they were in fact not interested to pursue the auditorship contract with us. They put some reason with the chairman has already told you. And being given that we can only wait for the next AGMM to appoint a new auditor, the Companies Act, as well our bylaw, provide for what is called the filling of a casual vacancy. So there was a casual vacancy. The board took the step that it was required to do under the Act and under the bylaws, and we are trying now to fill in that casual vacancy. And this would, once filled, it would lapse before the next AGMM, where the community will be called upon to ratify the recommendation of the board as to which firm or which person would be given that task of being the auditor of our company. So whatever has been done is under the law, is under the bylaws, so there is nothing more to add to that. Thank you.
Abdul Karim, please come forward.
Any questions, sir?
Yes, Abdul Karim, please take the mic.
Thank you very much, Chair. It's just a follow-up comment, because why I'm worried is the fact that PwC is opting out, because everybody knows PwC. PwC is a company everybody would want to be associated with. And probably myself coming from an educational institution, one thing I will still dream of is to go to Harvard or to go to Cambridge. And if the Harvard and the Cambridge of the auditing firm is rejecting an organization like AFRINIC, which is supposed to be the Harvard and the Cambridge in its own institution, then I think we need to think twice and to see how we can improve on things, because it's a worry to me. I do not expect an answer to this. I just feel it's one thing I think, I think, we need to think twice and to see how we can improve on things, because it's a worry to me. I do not expect an answer to this. I just feel it's one thing I think, I think, we need to think twice and to see how we can improve on things, because it's a worry to me. I do not expect an answer to this. I just feel it's one thing I think, I think, we need to think twice and to see how we can improve on things, because it's a worry to me. I do not expect an answer to this. I just feel it's one thing I think, I think, we need to think twice and to see how we can improve on things, because it's a worry to me. I do not expect an answer to this. I just feel it's one thing I think, I think, we need to think twice and to see how we can improve on things, because it's a worry to me. I do not expect an answer to this. I just feel it's one thing I think, I think, we need to think twice and to see how we can improve on things, because it's a worry to me. I do not expect an answer to this. I just feel it's one thing I think, I think, we need to think twice and to see how we can improve on things, because it's a worry to me. I do not expect an answer to this. I just feel it's one th everybody is worried about. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have two questions on the IP investigation. I will give the floor to the CEO, and then I will, for remote, we come back to remote later, okay, CEO.
Thank you, Abdul Karim, on this question. Yes.
Oh, sorry. Okay, you can come to them, Mike. Because we have a follow-up comment from the remote regarding Ashok response.
Andrew Alston, South Africa. Ashok, they cannot legally do that. The section 203 is very clear. They have to give us 20 days notice before the Uganda AGMM in order to opt to not take up the appointment. The appointment is valid if appointment at the AGMM, and it's therefore a resignation. The appointment is valid if appointed at the AGMM, then it's therefore a resignation. So this is the comment that we get from Ashok. Yeah, so according to him, they are resignated. According to him?
Now, I welcome the comment from the learned gentleman. And I have already said we acted according to the law. We acted according to the bylaws. So there's nothing wrong which has been done legally. He said whether it's opt or resignation is a question of interpretation. He can interpret one way, we can interpret in the other. Interpreted that he didn't want to continue. Whether you take it that he opted out or he thought to resign, is the same thing. We have a vacancy and we needed to fill it. We followed the law and the bylaw. There's nothing more to add. We wait for the AGMM to do the necessary. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashok. Eddie, on IP investigation.
Yes, I was saying, I understand, and we all understand that it's a very, very serious situation, and I join at a very critical point, and we have to move from here onward. At least this is the way I'm seeing the situation, moving from here onward. And from here onwards, my main focus is about the company, how we are moving ahead with the company. We have a situation, there's something that is bad that has happened, and happened for years. And my main focus is to how to remedy this, because there is some actions that are required to do this, and also how to ensure it doesn't happen again. Of course, you know, in the realm of cybersecurity and so on, you mitigate risk to the maximum. You cannot say that you've closed everything tightly, but you do your best and you play the right move that are necessary. Now, regarding the press, there are different ways that you can look at it, because press is supposed to do what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to publish and have. Is not glorious, if I can say. It's a story that is not beautiful. It's not improving the status of AFRINIC, but it's the reality, and we need to face it. If you look at the last article that came out, they contacted us, asked a question, and we responded. We responded to all the questions that are not within the framework of the investigation. The investigation is ongoing. We are not the first one who don't comment on issues when investigation is ongoing. He asked he asked a list of questions. Some of the questions were normal questions that you should answer, and we answered those. Those that were part of the investigation. I don't think also it's proper for the company to be rushing into conclusion. and bypass the current investigation. And as we said, some of the elements that we are collecting are elements that may need escalation. When we escalate and we are there being dragged in a back and forth with the press on items that are still under investigation, I believe we are doing proper diligence by not responding. What we want to assure you is that we are not dealing with it as if it is a casual case. We are not dealing with it as if it is a cough that one got. This is a serious matter, and we are dealing with it with the level of seriousness that it requires. But as our members, we have, and the community, you deserve to know how it's moving. The chairman informed you. When I was just joining, it was an email that came and then dragged an attention on what is operational, what is governance, but you need to understand that at that time I was fairly one day, and I'm dealing with a situation that I'm getting to learn. As you can see now, these questions it's being addressed by the company or by the CEO, and we are dealing with it with the utmost seriousness. However, don't expect that I will come out to make statement on something that is not clearly. Yes, the journalist has published what he has published. I believe that the type of report that you deserve is a report where we come with assurance of no stone has been left unturned. You don't need just us coming and giving you feedback. And some of the comments that you also see, we'll keep quiet to them, because we are a respectful institution, we are respectful people. You are not the first one to whom such a thing happened. You are not going to say that it's not AFRINIC that did something wrong. You see what I'm saying? Person did things or may have done things. Allow us to deal with it with a cold mind. We know it is a serious matter. Trust us, we'll get there. Thank you.
Okay, there was, still on the IP investigation, there was a question whether the board was aware or on when the board decided to act. I will give the floor to Vika to respond to that question. Vika, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, the board was notified by the former CEO of this matter, but at the level of it being a staffing matter, a potential area of verification, because the then CEO, hopefully I'm not misquoting him, indicated that he had been alerted that a particular official or employee of the company may have done certain things that may not have been authorized. And it was given to us as only that level, at a level of something that didn't sound any more sinister or any more serious than just probably a staffing matter. We were notified, if I remember, in the course of this year, towards the halfway mark of the year, and that there will be assessments of the situation, which I think then got a bit derailed with the CEO leaving and then with the interim CEO. So yes, we were alerted, but definitely at the time, at least my particular understanding was it wasn't something as severe as what now seems to appear in the media. But without rehashing what the CEO has said, management is looking into this matter and getting to the bottom of it. And beyond that, as the CEO said, we will request for space and respect of internal processes, and then at the right time, pronouncements will be made. We cannot speculate, as the board will give the CEO space to do that. And if and when the CEO sees it fit to then bring matters beyond that to the board or for any board actioning, we will deal with them there. But it is an operational matter, no matter how much well covered in the media it is. It doesn't justify us to transgress our own delegations of authority and get into the operations. Thank you.
Thank you. There was also a question regarding the item 3 on filling of casual vacancy. The question was to know the condition and also Eastern African countries. I will give the floor to SM to respond to that question. SM?
Thank you, Chair. The condition are specified in the bylaws is in section 13.10 of the bylaws. So please refer to the bylaws for the conditions to become to be eligible to be a director for that seat. As for the countries, there's Burundi, there's Djibouti, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Somalia, and Uganda. It's on our website, so you can look it up. Thank you.
The mics are now open again. I would like to see more ladies participating. 2 more people. We will have the remote question first.
Question from remote participation, Elvis Valea. I have one question for the board. What investigation did they start regarding cloud innovation? Lulang Larus, who received 6 million IPs from AFRINIC, and it's the second largest alaya in the entire Africa.
Can you repeat, please? I did not get that question, please.
Please read the question slowly.
Slowly, okay. Yes, okay. I have a question for the board. What investigation did they start regarding cloud innovation? Lulang Larus, who received 6 million IPs from AFRINIC, and it's the second largest alaya in the entire Africa. Is that okay?
Second question.
Sorry for coming to the mic once again. I promise.
The mic is on, okay.
So also remembered something I wanted to ask and I forgot originally that has to do with resignation within AFRINIC. I think we've had about 2-3 resignation within AFRINIC, and I just think also it has, maybe if there's any explanation towards that, or is it just people thinking they're doing something different with their life, or is it that they just feel, oh, I don't want to be associated anymore with AFRINIC?
One more person before I close the mic. Any burning question? Okay, back to you, Chair.
Okay, on the first question regarding the, I think 6 million IP, whatever it is, this is purely operational. I will give the floor to the CEO.
In my previous statement, I mentioned that we are not going to leave any stone unturned. And that's why I don't want to rush into any answer. Now, we take note of these questions, of this question. I am not sure if I've been reading different reports from different sources. I'm not sure to have heard about this, but we will also look into that and see how closely, if it's closely related to the current situation. If it is not, we may open a different one, but I'm not aware of such case as a case of wrong manipulation around the database. So for now, thank you for the information. We are continuing our research and we commit to leave no stone unturned. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, on the resignation question, I will give the floor to Vika. Vika, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. I think, Abdul Karim, a part of the resignation is the inevitabilities of life, and that people come and go. People aspire to certain other things. So we have to be mindful of that some of the resignations come purely because somebody feels I've made my contribution. I've been with this company for an X number of years, and I think it's time to move on. Without specifying individuals, I think one of this year's resignations cited exactly something like that. We cannot speculate any further beyond that. We take what people tell us, whether it's the hectic environment that AFRINIC tends to be generally, or it's something else. We take what we are told. It's an operational matter, and probably I'm only responding to it because the CEO wasn't there at the time. So, but that's how we are dealing with it. We are not aware of any more reasons beyond people seeking greener pastures or feeling that they've made their contributions, and it's time to move on to other prospects. Thank you.
I have like 5 minutes. I can take 2 questions. If there is anyone with a burning question. Anyone?
Bom dia. Obrigada e agradecer à mesa.
Good morning. Thank you, the podium and all the guests. Good morning. Thank you, the podium and all the guests. I have a question. Once it is not defined if there was or not a problem on the resignation of the staff, how AFRINIC will do in order to sort out, and what was discussed during these 5 days, policies on IPv4, IPv6 and AS number. If there is this dispute, probably we can help us to have a way out what was planned for this 31st forum, or it will cause a barrier to where we want to achieve. This is my question.
Proceed.
I will give the floor to the CEO to respond to the staff related and policy related question. CEO, you have the floor, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this question, because as I said, I start from where I found things, and I have to move ahead. My current focus is mainly to look at AFRINIC fulfilling its mandate, but mainly considering 2 pillars. Number 1 is the staff, and number 2 is the members. The staff, I've done an assessment of the environment, and like any environment, we strive to progress, we strive to improve, right? And this is not going to be different. I cannot make, as Vika said, in life, people come and go. I'm new. Before I joined this company, I was in another company, and I left that company. So, and people come and go. But yes, we have a healthy level of movement, and we'll strive to make sure we stay within a healthy level of movement of staff. We have done a lot of meetings to make sure that we improve the environment, and we'll do as much as we can. So give me a bit of time for that one. Let me not delve into much into this one. Now, regarding the meeting itself, I don't know if I'm convincing you enough, but it is a priority. That's what I can say. And stability is required if we want to do the different activities that we want to do for Africa, for AFRINIC, we need a stable environment. And I'll focus on making sure we stabilize. Now, the other one is about the meeting. The meeting was supposed to be a place where people exchange, where people discuss about policies. And I can call it a success. I want to see also the survey, because we serve you, so we encourage people to do the survey. We even have an iPad to be shared soon. I hope that those who fill the survey now, who have not filled yet, can also fill, but not just for the iPad, right? Because we're serving you, and it's fair that you give us your feedback. Here, we did our best to leave as much time possible for the policies, because we had quite a lot of them. We reduced the different other activities that we do in this type of meetings. The presentation were kept to a minimum to make sure that people have the time to discuss. And the discussion happened in the past 2 days. For some, there was consensus or rough consensus. For others, they were taken back to the mailing list. It's a normal process, and we hope to see more engagement and more alignments. But this is community dynamics, in which, as you know, is led fully by the co-chair, the PDP co-chairs. And I have good hope that this is going to go on improving by the day. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we proceed further, I will give the floor to there is online question. Please go ahead.
Andrew Alson, South Africa. I have one question. Can the board state how they claim they did not realize a serious issue, despite the fact that there was IP addresses space that was stolen, reported, and recovered long before this latest article appeared? Okay, another question. Arnaud from Togo. Can the CEO please confirm us if a policy on review is needed or not?
Okay, I think the question regarding the investigation on when the board was aware and the time the board acted on, I think Vika has rightly responded to that question. I don't know if Vika can be more precise, and please put the mic close to you and raise your voice, because it seems like your voice is going low.
Thank you, Chair. I think I did say earlier on in my response that we were notified by the former CEO of a possibility of a wrongdoing by a particular staff member. And I did say that this is an operational matter, and we left it to the then CEO to assess it. And as I said, I think If my recollection is correct, it was towards halfway line when the CEO alerted us of that. And we gave him space to assess the situation. So I do not think it's justifiable to say we've been long aware. You know, I do not know what's how far does this length go. When the CEO, after the CEO alerted us, the CEO was already serving his notice at the time, and then left in July. And then obviously things started happening in terms of assessments and so forth, and that's why we are here. So I do not think that we've been long aware of this thing any more than the time that the former CEO alerted us. Thank you.
Thank you. On the question regarding the policy, I will give the floor to the CEO.
I'm not sure I understood well that question, but my understanding of the PDP is that the PDP is led by the committee. We have two co-chairs, and the staff provides the assessment. We do the staff assessment, and we give feedback to the co-chair, and they continue with the process until we get back to it when we have to implement it.
When we talk about policy, Georgie is ready to go to the mic. Please, Georgie, please proceed.
I would like to give my opinion to that question. I understand the question because I guess it's from one of the authors of the review policy. I understand that the community is not reaching consensus on that. I also believe that policy is not good. It will be bad for AFRINIC. But I also understand the reason for the policy.
Jody, let's not open policy discussion here. No. I support, I don't support. Yeah. Please keep your opinion on the policy.
Yeah, the point is, what I am trying to say is, the RSA already provides provision for doing this kind of things. So this is something that can be done by an internal procedure. Sometimes it's good to have the vision of the community through the PDP, that's right. But also the board can initiate that. Nothing in the PDP excludes the board presenting a policy which will only reach consensus if the community like it. And in some situations, I think when it's affecting the community, it may be good if we are not able to reach consensus among the existing proposals that the board takes a position. Again, the board don't need to enforce it. It just goes through the PDP. Thank you.
Okay, please.
Morning. My name is Mavis Nducha, and I am from Botswana. And I represent the business sector, smart agriculture, where we currently find ourselves using a lot of internet. My question is on gender, especially looking at the board, because I'm seeing gentlemen. And I was wondering, I know previously there has been a woman. Is there any affirmative action that the chair and the co-chair should be of different men, women? Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think your question is related to the PDP and also to the board. Okay. I think for the PDP, it's up to the community in the PDP. That actually there is some PDP policy updates discussion, which means that if the working group felt like the co-chair should be gender balance, I think it's up to the working group to decide. Regarding the board, I will give the floor to my good friend Sean.
Okay, thank you very much, and perhaps it's good to say thank you for adding gentle to our name. It's good to record to say we are gentlemen. Yes, But yes, I understand your concern, and we also would really wish to have women on the board. And then to your question of the board leadership being vice chair, maybe mixed gender, I think the first step is to have a woman on the board. So if a woman is on the board, it's possible for that woman. Okay, my colleague is just telling me not just a woman, but at least many women, yes. But at least let's see one first. So and that brings me to remind you about the call that is up now for East Africa. At least we can start from there. If you have a lady or a woman who is interested, please encourage them to express their interest for the East African seats, which is the call will be out this week. And if we get those applications, we need those applications and EOIs to come in first before we can even say this person will be on the board. Then the other thing is that there could be a couple of seats that will be open next year for next year's election. And currently the election guideline is open for comments as well. So if you have some considerations that you think we should put in terms of requirements for women, you can also propose it or suggest it in the election guideline. But as far as our bylaw is concerned, we don't have any provision that mandates that it's a certain gender has to be on the board. But it's something that could be considered, and members may propose a resolution to modify the bylaws as well. But personally, and I believe I'm speaking the mind of the board, we would definitely like to have women on the board. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your answer. My question though would have been, okay, what do you have in place to make sure that women are not left behind? We always see in many cases, men are always leading, men are always on the forefront. Perhaps if we can slightly also focus on women and make sure that they're not left behind. Thank you.
Should I? It's okay.
Your comment is noted. Professor Ni?
Sorry, I'm back. But I think there's no consensus on the opinion that was expressed on review policy. And so we don't support others constantly bashing other policies. That's highly irregular. My interpretation of the question, on the other hand, is if we have an internal review guidelines, for example, being applied, or we prefer the policy route. In other words, sometimes we have different languages, different ways of expressing ourselves. So it's easy to miss, but I have a feeling this is where, I mean, if I were a teacher listening and a student asks this question, I'll read it as he's asking me whether I prefer the policy route or I have another approach which may be internal that I'm applying for the purpose of review. I think that is where I will interpret it. Thank you very much.
I will give the floor to the CEO on the question.
Just, okay. Hold a bit. Now, I understand this question now and the way you mentioned on the review, and the review is part of the RSA. RSA is a contract, right? I don't want to rush into this one too, but I hear that there's a policy around this, that we're doing this, but I also believe that as a company, we have the right to follow what is agreed upon in the contract. And we will do that. Thank you.
Good morning once again. My question goes to the board. Since in Africa we speak different language, I would like to know why is that the leading language in AFRINIC meeting is only done in English and French. Why is that? Portuguese language is not used at AFRINIC. Since we're in Angola, the content and the language to be spoken should have been in Portuguese, not in English and French. That's my concern. Thank you.
Yes, Eddie. I didn't catch your name. Yesterday at the gala dinner, I had a discussion with Silvio, who taught me how to say sorry in Portuguese, and now, unfortunately, I've already forgotten. I'm very sorry. But again, what I want to say is there are things that are doable. Even when we do the announcements, we do announcements in French, in English, and Arabic. And I committed, so colleagues, I committed yesterday night, we had a nice gala dinner at ITA, and I committed that at least we'll have the announcement also in Portuguese. It's not that complex to have that, right? Yeah. I know what we do for having to have the Arabic, we can do the same to have the Portuguese, right? So, and eventually, we want to be closer to you. And you also deserve to not having to struggle. It's not necessarily that you have to come. Yes, there are some of you who come and you speak. But again, there are other things that maybe we need to be a bit careful, because if it was not budgeted for, if you talk of meetings, I don't know exactly how meetings are done in other interpretations, but I hereby commit in Angola that we'll do our best, not only to, remember I said we'll do our best for inclusion, right? And I think this is a step for inclusion, and give us a bit of time. But at least you'll see some sign very soon.
Okay, I will give the floor to the chair of finance committee just to give you some updates. SM.
Thank you, Chair. The board launched a consultation about the fees proposal last year. It was around July. Based on the feedback which we received for the consultation, the board decided not to proceed further with fee change. So the fees will remain as it is now. On the matter of fees for /24 IPv4 addresses, AFRINIC will announce the next fees for it in due course. Thank you.
Yes, Jordi.
Regarding the fees, I was looking at the fee structure that I believe is the one currently in use, published in the website. And I believe there is something broken in the IPv6 fee structure. I already sent 1 hour ago one email to Eddie, which is a spreadsheet about where I see is broken. Basically, if I can explain shortly, what happens is that if you allocate 1/48 to every customer and you get /32, your cost per customer based on the IPv6 fee to AFRINIC is more or less $0.50, okay? Just a route calculation. If instead of that you have a /31, you pay, instead of $2,500, you pay $20,000, and then your cost goes to $2 per customer. So you pay more to AFRINIC, much more, but your cost per customer is much higher, which don't make sense because it's not proportional. What that means is that if I am an ISP and I want to get my business as cheap as possible, instead of providing the right prefix to my customers, I will provide them the wrong one. So we are doing a wrong deployment of IPv6. And that's in contradiction, which one of the spirits of this community, which is clearly we should go to IPv6. So I really think sometimes the fee structure, and I am not sure how was planned before. I was not looking at that before, and unfortunately I didn't discover it until now. You don't need to look only into numbers. You need to look into how you want to get the right way of deployment. Thank you.
Thank you, Jody. We discussed this during the meeting, and thank you for your email. Now I will not forget it. We'll look at it and give you feedback. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Just before I close, I have some reminder. I think I would like to remind our member and the community at large that our minutes bold resolution is published, which means that we encourage you to have a look at it. If there is any comments on that, please feel free to reach out to us. Also, as this is the first meeting for our new CEO, I would like all of us to give full support to the CEO. As we have been discussing, we have seen that there is a lot of challenges ahead, and the support of the community at large to the CEO, starting from the board to the CEO, is something critical for the moving forward of AFRINIC. And what I also like to suggest to the newcomers and also those who attend this meeting for the first time is to subscribe on a different AFRINIC mailing list and to be part of the community. I think on this note, I would like to thank you all for your time and for your question. The board will take it into consideration, and I will give the floor to the CEO. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and I'd like to really appreciate. I'm very humbled by this support that I get, and I cannot say it enough, from multiple places, not only just our community, but the feedback I'm getting even from the external community, the different other area. It's very appreciated. There are different activities that we are doing already with them, and I see it is highly valued, and I'm sure we'll be able to benefit from all this. So on this, I'd like also to appreciate all of you who made time to come here and spend these days with us, even those who have already left. We are expecting to see you again soon in Kinshasa. I imagine it'll be bigger than this by the trend of what we do generally. And by then, we'll expect to have made more progress in all this current situation that we are dealing with. But we'll continue the communication online as is natural. On this note, I'd like to come on the floor there and do the thank you to the board, and we are now going to do the final reward of the meeting. I have the honor to pick in this. Come again? Come, I'll show you something. I will have the honor. No, let me correct. I had the honor to pick in this box and pick the winner of the iPad. But I've decided to change this. I'm sorry if it's going to disturb the protocol here. I'm going to invite the lady there from Botswana. Please come. And you said you need to do affirmative action. I'm going to start by my first affirmative action now to involve more women. We discussed that in the first camera. But you'll do what she was telling me. You look that side and bring your hands. When your hand is nearby. Okay, now.
Avit Ndaiziga.
Avit Ndaiziga. Amahoro, amahoro, amahoro. Congratulations, and I'm glad. So here's your iPad. You want a better picture? But she left. Please come back, dear. Come, come, come. We did it together. Oh, felicitas. Urata shinaped. I'm speaking Kirundi for some of you who don't know. I'm very glad I brought the lady to do that because people may have thought that we are doing regional thing here. Eh? Now that we can even encrypt in our own language and you don't understand. So on this note, I really want to appreciate everyone. Thank you very much. We have different season in a family life, season where we go through tough time and we go through them together, and we also have time where we enjoy and are happy together. And on this note, the session is closed. Enjoy your lunch. Enjoy another time to connect because yes, we are here also to connect. And safe journey back to your countries. Be our ambassadors in Angola. Keep the fire burning. Thank you.